All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm meteorologist Aaron Mankowski along with Josh Nichols here. We are just want to join you on this rainy Tuesday afternoon to talk about what is going to be a snowy Thanksgiving. Josh, we've got our maps up. We had in the last 2 hours a number of warnings and advisories that the watches have been upgraded. Let's kind of walk you through what's going on right now. You can see there's what we call Max 1. That is the weather computer, and that is going to go up in place of me. And notice there's a lot of different colors on the screen right there. We have a lake effect snow warning now for southern Erie, Wyoming, Chautauqua, and Cattaraugus counties. That is in effect from 1 a.m. Thursday through 1 a.m. Saturday. And that is for about 12 to 20 inches of snow and some of the more persistent lake effect snow bands. So areas south of Buffalo, well south and east of Buffalo, could see a foot to maybe a foot and a half of snowfall. We'll get to snow totals in just a second, but we do want to get you updated with what's going on with the latest. We also have a winter weather advisory in effect for northern Erie and Niagara counties. That one is in effect from 9 p.m. on Wednesday through 1 p.m. on Thursday for about 2 to 5 inches of snow. And then winter weather advisory for Niagara and Orleans counties, 7 p.m. Wednesday through 7 a.m. on Thursday for a couple of inches of slushy accumulation. Most of Western New York also under a wind advisory as winds will be gusting near 50 to 55 miles per hour. And that wind advisory goes into effect noon on Wednesday and runs through early Saturday. It's a long lasting, early Friday. So it's a
Yeah,
long
and,
lasting wind event. So,
yeah,
Josh, why don't you take us through our weather headlines here and what we can expect?
yeah. And I just wanted to pipe in. It's important to know that we're going to be dealing with several hours, a protracted period of 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. So even if you only have 2 to 5 inches of snow, it's going to be lifted and drifted and blown around, especially on those north-south oriented roads. The snow comes flying across on a westerly wind, and it's really going to cause visibility issues. So yeah, that kind of covers what we were just discussing there about the snow and the strong winds. When will the snow start? It starts late Wednesday night. The time frame to watch is probably in the midnight time frame when it starts to mix, and then as temperatures plunge, it will transition quickly to all snow. And I think there will certainly be a number of whiteouts taking place into the southern tier Thanksgiving morning. I would not want to be driving on Thanksgiving morning. Hopefully, by that point, you are where you need to be.
Yeah. Thanksgiving during the day, like you mentioned, is going to be tough, especially once those temperatures really drop and that colder air fills in. And with combine that with the snow coming down and the strong winds, you're going to be dealing with those whiteout conditions and power outages. So, if you
Right.
got the generator, make sure it is ready to go because we could see some power outages. The highest impact, like you mentioned, will be across the southern tier. We have that rain changing the snow late Wednesday and then continuing into early Thursday here in Buffalo, then shifting further south. Travel will be difficult Thursday and on Friday. So as we walk you through the hour by hour forecast, if you're here in Western New York right now, it's going to be, it's raining. But check this out. This is 6 p.m. on Wednesday. And Josh, you can see the rain snow mixture for the onset with this system.
Yeah, that is it turns into a singular plume off of Lake Erie that just kind of for a little while, some of the models, one in particular that we look at, the Canadian model, did bring that band even to North Buffalo for a bit. The good news is that it won't last, and it will be migrating as the winds are not going to be southwesterly for a very long time. They will transition into more of a westerly wind, and that will help to push the band south. But it could get kind of nasty there for a little while, late Wednesday night, even into Metro Buffalo. But the good news is that it's not going to last long.
Yeah, like you mentioned, this band does move pretty quickly. So we'll walk you through this hour by hour. We have the rain and the snow that is with the onset with this system. And then that's why Niagara County and Orleans County have the advisory as well, Wednesday night into early Thursday. But by 3 a.m., that band is kind of stretching from Buffalo toward Batavia. But watch what happens after that. It goes pretty quickly south of Buffalo and even goes pretty quickly past the South Towns. So this band could actually be south of the South Towns, sitting more along the Boston Hills towards Springville by Thursday, late Thursday morning. So it is going to move pretty quickly southward. And then notice during the day on Thursday, of multiple bands of snow coming in off of Lake Erie, impacting areas south of Buffalo. And that's where that snow is really going to accumulate. Now, we know there's a lot of folks traveling Thursday morning and a lot of folks doing the turkey trot. You're going to find very strong winds in Buffalo. Slushy snow will be on the ground with temperatures right near the freezing mark at 9 a.m. So we're going to have the snow Wednesday night into early Thursday, but by 8 a.m., 9 a.m., as you're gathering and doing the race, a lot of that snow will have come to an end, but the winds are still going to be very, very strong. And we're talking winds gusting 50 to 55 miles per hour. And really, we've been talking about it all morning for this last couple of mornings. And Josh, you've been talking about it as well, that really the big threat with this system, yeah, we're getting the snow, but these winds are going to cause some major headaches across the area.
Yeah, in several hours of 40 to 50-mile-per-hour winds will leave its mark in some spots. You're certainly going to see some tree branches coming down, some limbs coming down, and there, as we were just saying, there could be power outages. The areas, I call them the usual suspects, as you might say in a mystery novel. The usual suspects, the Boston Hills, the Chautauqua Ridge, that corridor in between Batavia and Buffalo, where the winds kind of accelerate a little bit because of the lay of the land. That's going to be an issue as well. And again, you're still getting those winds all the way into even Friday evening in some spots. So be prepared for some quick changes starting Wednesday night.
Yeah, and with the power outages and the difficult the snow blowing and drifting, maybe not so much like we are talking about with the slushy accumulation as that rain snow mixture becomes all snow late Wednesday and early Thursday. However, we we'll see more blowing and drifting snow as your Thursday moves along, especially across the southern tier. So Debbie has a great question. Where does the warning area start? Hard to tell what town. So let me pop that up for you. And you will see that it is south of Buffalo, southern Erie, Wyoming, Chautauqua, and Cattaraugus counties. That lake effect snow warning will go into effect 1 a.m. on Thursday. And that warning will run through 1 a.m. on Saturday. So they have warning area right there in the this bluish color. So that does include Brant, Hamburg, Concord, Warsaw, Wales, Arcade, Franklinville, Great Valley, Salamanca, over toward Chautauqua, Cassadaga, Jamestown, Dunkirk, Westfield. And we talked about too, along the Lake Erie shoreline, your totals won't be as high as, say, the folks more closer toward the 219. I think Springville to Ellicottville, back toward Cherry Creek, up toward Perrysburg, South Dayton, Gowanda, those areas right in here will have the highest snow total. So that warning for you folks, that starts 1 a.m. Thursday, runs through 1 a.m. on Saturday for 12 to 20 inches of snow. Combine that, trees coming down, power outages, whiteouts at times. That is for a lot of that Thanksgiving into the big shopping day, Black Friday. So expect some very difficult travel during that time.
It kind of looks like 20A is the general northward extent of the warning, or 20A. So anything south of 20A, that's where you're dealing with the warning. North of 20A, the advisory. But honestly, whether you're blowing and drifting 3, 4, 5 inches of snow or blowing 1 to 2 feet of snow, the visibility is going to be zero at times. That's why we call it a whiteout. So, when the core of the heaviest lake snow comes through your neck of the woods, depending on what time frame it is, again, mostly the southern tier, mostly on Thanksgiving Day, you're going to look outside and you're not going to be able to see much.
Yeah, and then Kat's asking about Bear, New York. That's
Barry,
Orleans by Shelby. What's that?
Barry?
Yeah,
is it Barry?
Barre. Yeah, Orleans
Orleans
County. Yeah. So that like southern Orleans County. So you are in the winter weather advisory from 7 p.m. through 7 a.m. on Thursday for about 2 to 4 inches of slushy accumulation. You'll also have the winds that'll be very strong. We talked about that corridor near Batavia. That's pretty close to that too, where you folks have that wind advisory. So you can see winds gusting, 50 miles per hour, 55 miles per hour, especially late Wednesday and early Thursday. So again, isolated power outages are possible for you there in Orleans County. Oh, and Jacqueline, what about Allegheny County? Interesting, Josh. Allegheny County does not have an
No
advisory.
winds, no
A
advisories.
warning is not in the wind advisory. It doesn't mean you're going to have sunshine and 70. What you will have in Allegheny County are some snow showers pushing towards you. And you're still going to be windy, but the heaviest snows will be just to your west. So I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Josh, Western Allegheny County would have a little more snow
Yeah.
than say Eastern because you're closer to Lake Erie.
Yeah, there will be, that sharp cutoff. As I like to say, it's all about the haves and the have-nots when it comes to lake effect snow. And Allegheny is clearly going to be in the have-not category. However, that doesn't mean it's not going to be windy, it's not going to be cold, and you're not going to see a few flakes flying. It's just that, the amounts will drop off dramatically north of the warning area. And then south of that 20A line that we were talking about, those amounts will pick up also as a function of topography and proximity to Lake Erie.
Yeah, but that's Western Allegheny County could get a little bit of snow, but further east you're going on the lower end. Cheryl, does metro area have to worry about power outages? Yes, the Metro Buffalo has a lot of trees. Ground's can be very saturated. We're getting the rain right now, and winds 50 to 55 miles per hour. If the trees aren't in that great shape, could knock a few branches over, and if that were to happen, falls on power line, you could see some isolated power outages. I don't think widespread power outages are likely in Buffalo, metro area, and the north towns, but certainly there is the chance for some power outages in Buffalo. Treat the lights if they're out as a four-way stop because that could happen as well. How much snow expected on the ground for the turkey trot? I would say at 9 a.m. in Buffalo on Delaware, about 2 to 3 inches of slushy accumulation. Just be ready. Your feet are going to be wet. And it's going to be super windy. I know when I run in the cold and the wind, I like to have one of those, things over my face that kind of covers things up because that wind when you're running is tough. And you're talking winds gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour. If you have a fancy costume on Thursday, it's going to take quite a beating from the wind. So have an extra pair of dry socks, maybe some extra shoes for after the race if you're going to be partying it up quite a bit that day. Yeah. Really hoping Hamburg doesn't get a lot of snow, although I have a feeling we will get slammed, especially at Lake still being well above freezing. Now, yeah, Lake Erie's 46, which is where it should be on this date. But Josh, we were talking about 20A, and Hamburg is kind of right on that fringe where I think south of Hamburg, maybe even South Hamburg, could have noticeably higher amounts than, say, North Hamburg.
Well, and the other thing too is this is sort of like splitting hairs or trying to find a needle in a haystack, right? Because if you have 8 inches in one part of town and 4 inches in another part of town, it's all getting blown around by these strong winds, and so blowing and drifting means you could have drifts that are considerably higher than the actual amount of snow that fell. It might just look worse than what it really is. Honestly, it's just such a challenge to measure snowfall in windy conditions like this. So there's that.
Yeah, it's tough, and really the measuring the snow totals won't be if it's 5 inches or 9 inches. The bottom line is you're not going to be able to see much as Thursday moves along because of those strong winds. So we really were talking about that in the morning and probably at night too, Josh. Just let's focus on the winds here because I think that is going to be the biggest story. Because you could look out the window and have an inch of snow on the ground or 10 inches, and that's blowing all over the place, and that's going to make for some difficult travel. If you're traveling from Lancaster to Olean, should we stay home? Well, it's definitely a call that you're going to want to wait to see what it's like. Say tomorrow in Lancaster, you're going to be fine, but as you head south, the 219 is going to be very difficult to drive on. If you go over to Route 16, that's still going to be tough as well. You're getting into Olean, only in that southeastern corner, your amounts of snow will be lower, but getting there is going to be difficult. If you were to cancel, I don't think any of your relatives would say, "Oh, you're so soft. What are you doing?" It's just it's going to be here, Josh. I'll put this into motion.
Yeah, and
And
Aaron,
notice the
it's so
219,
yeah.
16 through Lime Lake and Machias, like from Lancaster. You're going to run into some, some of the spots that are getting the highest snow totals combined with some very strong winds.
219, I don't think I'd want to be on Thanksgiving morning. I mean, that's a north-south oriented road with strong west winds just blowing all the snow right across. So I think I would avoid that.
Yeah, north-south roads. I'm with you. Oh, here's one for you, Josh.
Lori asks, "How about on Thanksgiving evening? How will the how will the 90 be traveling to Rochester?" Well, I'm hoping it's going to be okay because I've been here in a hotel this week, anticipating tomorrow night and Thursday. I'm hoping I can go home Thursday night to Rochester. I think the story here is that by that point, the bulk of the lake effect snow will be residing south of Buffalo, not so much into Rochester. Now you can see why I'm staying in a hotel tomorrow night because of that band right there, and certainly into Thursday. But I think by Thursday night, most of it is going to be settling south. I think at that point, late Thursday night, we might be looking more at the Lake Ontario snow, the Lake Ontario plume, that might make a connection with Georgian Bay. That's an upstream body of water, part of the Upper Great Lakes, and sometimes it gives an extra, as I like to call it, an extra boost to the snowfall. So you probably should be okay. There's certainly going to be some areas of poor visibility and blowing and drifting because there still will be quite a bit of wind at that time.
Yeah, and it looks like a lot of that snow, like you're just talking about, stays kind of north of Route 104 on Thursday if you're traveling to
Right.
Rochester. But with that almost westerly wind is the big thing on Thursday. And then it becomes a little more northwesterly as we get into to Friday. And that's when you'll start to see maybe more of that snow off of Lake Ontario pushing toward Rochester. So, all this stuff, how's Black Friday look, Mark? It's going to be windy, cold, and snowy across north and south of Buffalo on Friday. You're looking at some snowfall as both lakes, and like you just mentioned, with the connection from the lakes to our west and all the different bodies of water there will help enhance some of that snowfall. So there's the connection, and I think Friday, if you're going out, temperatures in the low 30s, still rather breezy, and you'll find perhaps if you stay in Buffalo, you'll be like, oh, it's okay. And then you kind of travel or you go on social media or see some of the video that we're posting, and you're like, oh, it's bad in other places.
Yeah. And I think it's important to also kind of look at, how long this lasts and when do things kind of calm down a little bit. And, because, right now we're all kind of almost tunnel vision thinking about Thanksgiving, right? Because some of us have all these travel plans within the very, very short term. But some of the lake snows do kind of linger, especially off of Lake Ontario as we head into the start of the weekend. But I think it's safe to say, given especially some of the time frames that in which the warnings expire and the alerts expire, that once we get to Saturday morning, it's going to be a lot quieter.
Okay, Josh, this is, you mentioned the Canadian model, and this is the Canadian model for Buffalo northward from Wednesday night through 1 p.m. on Thursday, where we have the advisories for the North Towns. And I wanted to pop this up because you and I are in agreement that this model, I think, is the most accurate when it comes to these early season lake effect snow events. I think it handled we've already had a couple. It handles them the best. So I do want to show you what this model is suggesting. And this is why the Weather Service did issue the advisory, even for Niagara County and Orleans County, because notice from Niagara Falls to Lockport, Medina, Albion, you're in that 2 to 4, even Royalton getting close to 5 inches of snow. That might be on the higher end. But this model, again, the Canadian model, I think does the best job with these early season snow events, because the other ones tend to trend with lower amounts and tend to trend a little bit further south. But this one is why we have from Buffalo, you're in that 2 to 4, almost 5 inch range, as we'll have this will be slushy accumulation late Wednesday into early Thursday. So some of this snow, you're not going to have 7 inches of snow on the ground in Amherst, but you will have a few inches of snow because a lot of it will melt during the onset of the system.
Yeah, and I think it's that the fact that that singular plume on the Canadian model, uh, just drifts north a little bit of Metro Buffalo, sits there for a little while, not long, and then quickly moves south. So, and it is technically speaking, although like you said, Aaron, uh, you know, good uh, in these kinds of early season events. If you look at all the models that we look at, thankfully, that's our job. That's not
Yeah.
the job of the people at home to look at. There's a lot of snowfall models out there. So it's our job as the meteorologist to give you an idea of, what to expect without looking at every single computer model run.
Yeah.
You know,
And another one, like we were talking about the models, and that's why like you get a lot of the questions, which ones do you like? And that's the one I like for the start of this event.
yeah.
And then notice that model had 6 inches of snow in Buffalo, and then the GFS does a good job keeping the heavier snow south of Buffalo. I do think these numbers might be, a little lower south of Buffalo because you're going to be more in that 12 to 16 inch range up near Salamanca and Ellicottville. Colden to Warsaw, and you're kind of on that cutoff right there. But Niagara Falls, Buffalo, Medina, you'll have a little bit more than what this model is showing. So like Josh was saying, we look at a lot of different models, try to find which ones work the best, especially for lake effect. Lake effect snow forecasting is difficult because we talked about how even different towns could have different snow amounts. And that's what we are going to see. There will be a pretty impressive cutoff with this band Thursday morning. And by say 9 a.m., it will be south of Buffalo. How far south? It's going to be that's where you're going to have perhaps even in, like I said, Hamburg, North Hamburg could have lower amounts than South Hamburg as this band kind of settles in over the south towns. But it is going to move quickly through Metro Buffalo. So that will keep our totals down a bit. And most of the snow is coming down while you're sleeping. Unless, of course, you're going out, because I know Wednesday night is a big party night. But well, not for this guy, because I go to bed nice and early. All right, here's another one. The drive Thursday, 2 p.m. from Hamburg to Ellicottville. I can say to Karen, Josh, that I don't think it's going to be a good drive. You're going to be going slowly with winds gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour and snow bands. You'll have multiple bands off of Lake Erie. So you might be in one spot where it's okay. You're going up, on the 219 up a hill, and you're like, wow, I can't really see anything. So
I don't
do you have
think they're
anything else you
really.
want to add? There you go.
Yeah, I think if you live anywhere between anywhere
Yeah.
in the southern tier, early Thanksgiving, you should be grounded where you are and enjoying family and friends and avoiding any travel at all costs. Otherwise, you could risk either taking a very long time, and trust me, I know how that goes, on many a trip from Buffalo to Rochester. You don't want to get yourself stranded.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you do have to go out and you're getting, nervous about stuff, just, make sure, the car has snacks and you've got a full tank of gas. It is Thanksgiving Day. You're not going to have a bunch of people working that day. So if anything, were to happen where you were to get stuck, then you don't want to be out there, stranded without, having like a snacks and some water and stuff like that and some warm clothes. Christine, Thursday, 10 to 4, Newfane to Tonawanda, delivering food. You know what? Not that bad. The advisory ends by 7 a.m. In Newfane. Tonawanda might have a little more snow. It'll be windy, I can tell you that, with temperatures in the low to mid 30s. We have about 2 more minutes, and then I know Josh has to get ready for the 5 and 5:30, 6, 7, and 11. And we are then going to, but we certainly appreciate everyone chiming in and asking all the questions. We're going to leave you here with the latest warnings and advisories if you're just tuning in, because we do have lake effect snow warnings in effect for southern Erie, Wyoming, Chautauqua, and Cattaraugus counties from 1 a.m. on Thursday to 1 a.m. on Saturday for about 12 to 20 inches of snow with winds gusting near 50 miles per hour. We also have winter weather advisories late Wednesday through Thursday morning for Niagara and Orleans counties, Thursday afternoon for northern Erie and Genesee County. And that is for about 2 to 5 inches of snow, perhaps in locally higher amounts. The big story will be the winds, with winds gusting 50 to 55 miles per hour as we head into Wednesday night, early Thursday, and then still during the day on Thursday, gusting close to 50. And that wind advisory in effect for Chautauqua, Erie, Niagara, Orleans, Genesee, and Wyoming counties from 12 p.m. Wednesday through 1 a.m. on Friday. So everyone stay safe. We appreciate you chiming in and joining us. And Josh, any parting words before I let you get back to work?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Oh yeah, happy Thanksgiving. We'll both be here on Thursday, keeping you updated with what's going on. And I'll have the morning part, and then as the day moves along, Josh will keep you posted as well. So have a great holiday, and yeah, thanks for the questions, and hope we could at least kind of clear up what's going on now that the warnings and advisories are in effect.
All right, thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Bye bye.